did you get into writing comic books?
Comic books was another weird thing. I always loved the things.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the things and always dabbled in writing. But for some ungodly reason, maybe just I'm a little simple, I never thought of the two connecting. I never thought of comics and writing. I mean,
really?
Loved them, read them voraciously, loved comic books, but never thought in terms of, I'd like to do that for a living. Maybe it's because it was so cool that I never could imagine me doing something that cool, so it just was never there. I used to go to a comic shop in Lynn, Massachusetts, where I grew up, and the guy who ran that comic shop used to get visits from Steve Bissette. It's this weird synchronicity, really weird, and Steve used to come in and hang out in the store because his first wife's parents lived in Lynn.
Okay.
So he would just stop by the comic shop and, hey, I'm Steve Bissette. I'm going to be drawing Swamp Thing. It was when he was first starting out at DC. And I would come in the store and he would be there and we would just strike up and we had really a nice little friendship developing. He published a horror anthology through a publisher named Aardvark Van Heim.
Yeah,
which was Dave Sims'
Cerebus.
Yeah. He had his little publishing venture for a while other than Cerebus. And he was going to publish Steve's book. It was called Taboo. And Steve was the editor on Taboo. And he collected all these horror comics, horror like short story comics from people. And Steve said to me out of the blue one day, I know you dabble in, you write short stories. I really like that one about the dentist. It was a story that I did called Tooth Decay. He said, how would you like to adapt that to comics? And that was almost like light dawns on Marble Head. It was kind of like, I could write comics. and that's where that came from. That was my first foray into comics. And what company? The first collection in Taboo had introduction by Clive Barker, had an Alan Moore story.
Wow.
I mean, there was some top-notch people in this collection, and my little crazy dentist story that I did with an artist named Mike Hoffman. Terrific horror artist. Very EC, in that real lots of nice shadows and stuff. He did some work for DC in like the 80s too, but he kind of I still see his stuff pop up from time to time, but it's really not in anything major. It's almost like he's done like his own little publishing house, like he'll do like a poster or an art book or something like that. But he was a terrific help because I didn't know how to script comics. I didn't have a clue, and he kind of like, oh, give me the story, I'll show you how it's done, that type of thing. So
that's great.
He kind of took my short story and showed me how to break it down into comic book script and stuff like that.
And you went on to work, for the big boys.
I mean, I did a lot of independent stuff. I did a lot of work for Caliber out of, who were they, Detroit.
Yeah, Mike Reed?
Gary
Reed.
Gary Reed, yeah. I did a lot of work with Gary, did a lot of little independent stuff there. And then, I went to Harris, where I did Vampirella for many years and launched all their new characters and stuff like that over at Harris. And from Harris, I did some Marvel work. I did some DC work. I think I've worked for just about I think I've done work at almost every major publisher.
But not lately.
Not lately, but Bookman.
No time for the comics.
No time for the comics. I mean, I'd like to dabble in the comics. I mean, matter of fact, there's some stuff floating around out in the ether that I'm in the process of. I think the last comic stuff I did was probably original comic stuff was probably Talent for Boom Studios.
Right, and that leads into another question I want to ask. I understand Talent has been optioned for possible film development?
Yep, that was optioned by Universal. It's still, from what I understand, still in the script stage. They can't quite get the script right.
Development hell.
Yeah, which seems to be like the curse of Chris and I. Almost everything that we've had option has been in development hell. They pay the option money and then you don't see nothing. But that's where that is. Last time I checked, anyways, it was still in the script stage.
And do you have agents pitching in Hollywood, or do you just have Hollywood coming to you?
We have a manager who gets the stuff underneath the noses of people that would be buying stuff like this.
Well, I would think this is an incredible time for someone with comic experience to be in it, because I think I saw there's upwards to 100 different comic-related projects in development in Hollywood right now. Most will probably never see the light day of a theater.
Which is sad. Yeah, which is really sad. I think that's the one major frustrating thing about the whole Hollywood thing. You know, it's exciting as all hell when Universal Picture wants to option your idea. Yay, you're all excited. But when you realize what that means, a lot of the times they take it, they look at it, they bat it around, and then they toss it in a drawer, and it just kind of goes away until the option runs out, and they either renew the option, or they give you another stupid hunk of money for doing nothing, and then again it gets thrown back in the drawer again. You know, that's
whereas you'd really just like to see it
I'd love
made.
to see it done. Yeah, I mean that's why a lot of the times, like with some things that Chris and I have floating around out there, a smaller production company that doesn't have a ton of money shows an interest, and a lot of times we'll say just because there's more of a chance. But you guys, if you're going to spend that money, you don't have a ton of money.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to put some money out, there's a good chance that you're going to make.
You're invested, so you're winning.
Yeah. So,
do you consider dabbling in screenplay writing at all?
Talent was an experiment in screenplay writing originally.
Really?
We didn't do it as a comic at first. That was a pilot. That was a pilot script that Chris and I wrote.
Okay.
He's gone on to do the screen. He's writing screenplays now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did. He actually just finished a screenplay for that book that he did with Mike Mignola last year, Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Chris just finished.
I didn't know they were making a production out of that.
Again, we hope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chris just delivered that script. He and Mike worked on that script. And he's also writing the script for his Body of Evidence series.
They're finally making it?
Well, we hope.
After all these years?
Yeah, he turned in the script like right around Christmas time, and
wow.
Now they're waiting for the final yay or nay on the production. I mean,
only 9 years after CSI showed that there's a market for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. That was always a no-brainer with me. I never could believe that couldn't be sold immediately.
Procedural drama and perky young girl. It's
yeah. I mean,
who's not on that?
Right. But this is the problem with Hollywood. The obvious sells. It's not obvious to them. You know.